Alright, so you're probably looking at the fanfiction idea right here and going, wow, for real? Yep, this is a fanfiction idea of a crossover between Hellsing and Blacula. I have an affinity for that movie. I know it's not a good movie, but it's charming. And apparently Blumhouse is doing a remake of the film, so I'm actually kind of curious about that. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a crossover between, well, yes, and you're probably wondering, well, Blacula has Dracula in the movie. That's how Mamuwalde becomes a vampire and gets the name. How does this work? Well, I'll tell you. So our story begins in this odd little idea my brain had. The story begins with Alucard and Saris being brought to a large oil tanker that is washed up on the beaches of England, and it's just crawling with vampires. Like, the entire crew is made of vampires, and Alucard's like, some son of a bitch copied my idea. Like, it's literally like a reference to Dracula taking the Demeter to London. And the boat's name is the Demeter, and he's like, someone did this on purpose to get my attention. And Saris is like confused, like, who would do that? Like, who's dumb enough to fight you? And he's like, you'd be surprised. So Alucard is very curious about all of this because this was a direct reference to him getting a ship named the Demeter and that boat even came from Romania. That boat came from Romania to England, and it took the exact same path. And it's a very intricate middle finger to Alucard, directly to Alucard. And Alucard's curious about all this, and eventually he starts finding, like, they start hearing about other attacks that are very similar. It's someone calling out Alucard and knows him that he is Dracula. And Alucard's investigating this because he's got an idea as to who this would be, because he's known people who, like, only a handful of people really know his full backstory. So someone who knows it intricately, and they're like, well, people have read the book, people would probably know you very intricately as, the Count. Integra brings that point up as, like, everyone knows your story. And he's like, no, they don't. There are some stuff left out that whoever is doing this and trying to insult me is clearly aware of. This is someone who's been planning an attack for a while. Like, this is someone who has been readying himself for a full-on attack. So Alucard goes more solo on this investigation, and he discovers that this is all in part of the Order of the Dragon, which, if you know your historical Vlad the Impaler stuff, the Order of the Dragon was the knighthood that Vlad the Impaler was a part of. And the Order of the Dragon now, in this story, is like a group meant to hunt down and kill Dracula, because of, Alucard was a member. In fact, in this story, he was the founding member of the Order of the Dragon to fight the Turkish invaders during the Romanian-Turkey War. But what happened was that after Alucard went full vampire, the Order decided, we can't have this heathen monster, represent us. We're going to try to kill him. And that's all what they've been trying to do, is kill him for all these years. And now they have they believe they have the perfect agent to do that. That agent is Mamuwalde. So let's get into Mamuwalde in this continuity. So Mamuwalde, aka Blacula, in this continuity, encountered Alucard, and yes, Alucard is the one who turned him into a vampire, but not the way you thought if you saw it in the movie. In this story, Alucard, shortly after becoming a vampire, wanted to become, like, he's telling Integra this entire story where he's like, so shortly after I became a vampire, I decided I didn't want to be a warrior, I wanted to be a conqueror. So he started like making a small little empire throughout what was Turkey and whatnot, but he needed resources, and he didn't have the army to fight like the Western European countries just yet. Like, he could take on Turkey, he could take on a few places, but he was not, he was still Romania was not a big fledgling empire. It wasn't a big enough empire to take anyone out. So what he did was that he was going to get resources and launch attacks deep into Africa to get to harvest resources and maybe get some, shall we say, conscripted soldiers for his new army, and then he was going to go right back to Italy and conquer upwards, and take everything there. Unfortunately, during his campaign in Africa, what happened was Mamuwalde, a young African prince, had been uniting all the African tribes to slow down and fight back against these undead hordes. And of course, Alucard took a bit of offense to that. Killing Mamuwalde's not only his bride, but also his children, which in this story, he had multiple, Mamuwalde had many sons and daughters. He slaughtered and killed them all, and then turned him into a vampire and buried him deep in the earth. So the Order of the Dragon have found Mamuwalde, who's looking for revenge, and that's where we are now. And Mamuwalde in this story he's an excellent tactician. He's been also feeding for centuries on people, so he is almost on the same level as Alucard. He is very much on the same kind of like power scale. If we were to power scale, probably be on the same level as Alucard. And Alucard's almost like excited by this idea that one of his greatest, at one hand it is like one of his greatest mistakes come back to haunt him, but on the other hand, this is going to be an entertaining fight. It's like he's like, holy shit, finally someone who's worthy of being called a vampire and someone I can actually fight. This isn't going to be a slaughter, it's going to be a cool ass fight. And Saris is like, what if he kills you? And he's like, great. Then he can be like, he even says like, on the occasion that Mamuwalde kills me in a fight, let him be king. Like, he can take over as he is true. If he can kill me, then he's proven that he is worthy of the name vampire, and he can rule. But of course, Integra, on the other hand, is like, no, we are not having a vampire who's as strong as you, who we don't control, and some secret order meant to kill you. We're not going to let that run around. No, thank you. So, yeah. Now, Millennium's kind of staying out of this one because they're like, ooh, this is going to be fun. But on the other, that's at least their first thought. But the Major's like, no, I'm killing Alucard, no one else. So when Mamuwalde and Alucard meet in battle, Mamuwalde tells Alucard, like, through a message saying, hey, we're gonna fight in the same spot you killed my family, so come to Africa. And Alucard goes, the two fight. It's literally just a bloodbath between the two. But while this fight is going on and Alucard's on the ropes in this matchup, the Major sent Rip Van Winkle with a specially designed bullet that was originally meant to kill Alucard, and shoots Mamuwalde and kills him before he gets a chance to kill Alucard. And Alucard's like, God damn it, you ruined it. And the doctor's like, you just ruined our best shot of killing that monster. Like, what was the point of that? And he's like, oh, don't worry, I have other plans. Obviously referring to the whole thing with Schrodinger. So, there you go. It's a pretty unique story, I know, but I never get to talk about that movie. I really enjoy that movie. It's campy, yes, but there's, like I said, a charm, and it very much harkens back to some of that Universal monster fun. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a Hellsing version of of Mamuwalde. I tried not to use the Blacula name, even though, yes, that's the title of the movie. It's still kind of demeaning. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this, albeit admittedly unique story? Just comment below, let me know. As always, if you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.